Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm so glad to see a whole bunch of you already out there in the chat. And we are going to have some fun this month with all sorts of glitter and sparkle and shine and excellent ideas for how you can use all of those kinds of things that you might have in your craft room. So I'm so glad that everyone is out there. I see all of the usual suspects chatting it up in our chat area. If you are new here, don't be afraid. Go ahead and pop a little hello in the chat and tell us where you're from. We are a fun-loving group of crafters that get together weekly to create and just have some fun with all the things in our craft room. So I'm glad you're here. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Trisha says she was looking at the list for today's card and hasn't figured out what we're going to see. Well, Trisha, I'll tell you a little secret. If you look at the preview for the live stream, that's always what the project is going to be. So that'll give you a little heads up on what we're creating. Anyway, thanks, Anne. I love this red sweater too. I've had it for a couple of years now. I have a green one just like it. It's a little cool here today, and I'm in the basement, so it's starting to get a little cold all the time. And I totally didn't do this on purpose, the red with the kind of blue-green, but it totally matches today's card. I swear I did not do this on purpose. I sat down and I pulled everything out. I'm like, well, isn't that goofy? Anyway, I match. It's cool. Let's talk some announcements. Here we are. Not too much. I did actually go through the calendar to figure out what was going on for the rest of the year. So we've got today, next Thursday, and the Thursday after. We will have Running with Scissors as usual. And then we're going to take a week off for Thanksgiving. I'm going to take another week off for a scheduled trip. I won't be available. And then we're going to do 2 more weeks, and then we'll break for the holidays. So that is our live streaming schedule for the rest of the year. If you're keeping track and you want to make sure you've got it on the calendar, there you go. All right. And that'll take us to, let's see, I think this is 78. So 980. 82. That'll take us to 82 episodes that we've been doing this. That's crazy. I can't believe it's been 82 episodes. Can you guys? I mean, it's just unreal. I don't know where the time goes, how it happened so quickly, that we have been doing this for 82 episodes by the end of the year. Crazy. All right, so a couple other little announcements. The Bloom Technique Library membership is now enrolling. You can go to bloomcrafters.com to check that out. It is just techniques. It is the techniques that I put out on Tuesdays, but more. So you're going to get ad-free. You're going to get a searchable library. You're going to get those technique sheets that you see me putting together at the end of each video. You're going to get those downloads. Plus, you're going to get all the videos well in advance. So I'm working on having at least a 2 to 3 month lead time. So you'll be getting techniques well before I post them on YouTube. So that is definitely something to take a look at for sure. If you are waiting for the Bloom community to open back up again, don't worry about joining the Technique Library now. You can join the Technique Library now, and when I open the Bloom community again, you'll get notified about that. And if you choose to move to the Bloom community, which includes the Technique Library, I will go ahead and work some financial magic and make sure that you get the money left over from your technique club will get put back into your account and all sorts of things. So it'll be totally fair, and you won't skip a beat. You'll still get the techniques, but you're going to get more with the Bloom membership. If that was crazy and really confusing, just let me tell you that I'll have you covered. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, and Anne is like cheering over there. Anne, are you cheering about the technique club? Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The Technique Library is very nice. I really like the way that it's set up for you, and I love that it's searchable. It's got all sorts of great information in there. It should be the last place you ever have to go for techniques. There will be 52 new techniques a year at minimum. So it's pretty awesome. Anyway, there it is. As always, I truly appreciate your support for my channel and all of the crafty endeavors that I do here and on my blog and everywhere else. And I've got my affiliate links down below. So if you do need to do some crafty shopping, you can hit one of those affiliate links to a store that you're planning on going to and do your shopping. And I might get a small commission at no additional cost to you. It doesn't matter if you buy that particular product or not. As long as you've gone to that store with one of my links, I'll get the commission, and I really appreciate it. Since at no additional cost to you, it's something that you can do very easily to help support me and other crafters out here on the internet. If you want to support me directly, of course you can use the tip jar, and I would like to thank Erin again this month for sending a little bit into the tip jar, a nice little cup of coffee or two, and that really helps me keep things going here. So thank you to Erin. All right, guys, today's project. You already saw the preview, and you saw me hold it up to my outfit, but there we go. Sparkle, glitter, glitz, glamour. It's got it all. This is what we're going to make today. So let's move on to the hands. Becca says, I hope you are enjoying a beautiful autumn day. And we are here in Nebraska. It's a little cool today. It's going to be nice and warm this weekend. A last hurrah for the golf course. And yeah, it'll be pretty nice. So, no snow yet here. It tried, but it failed. All right, so I've got all sorts of fun products. Hey, so a new company, new to me. I've seen them out on scrapbook.com, and I don't think that I've ever gotten anything from them before, but it's a company called Paper Rose, and they are based out of Australia. So I thought, hey, I want to give them a try. They had this beautiful ornament die that I thought would work perfect for today's project. And what I like about it is that it's got the outline, and then it's got the ornament itself. And of course, if you wanted to, you could do some paper piecing and piece in all these little bits, which would be really nice if we weren't doing this really cool background. I thought about it, but I didn't want to cover anything up. All right, and then it's got this extra little piece here to make a decorative little top in another color if you wanted to. But what I thought about doing, which worked out really great, is I was able to use my infinity circles to find a circle size that would work well, and just use this little top to create the little top for this ornament. So very, very flexible die set. There's another die. This is the #1 die. It's on the back here. It is Crystal Ornament Layer 1. And there is another layer 2 that has like stitched elements, so you can see stitching behind it, which is really quite nice as well. But I didn't need that one, so I just got this one. Very reasonably priced, really great die. Didn't have to cut it apart. Love it. It was so awesome. So that, and we're going to use some infinity circles today, and we're going to use this great die set from a Stampin' Die set from Picket Fence. This came out last Christmas. And they've got the matching dies. I love a sentiment set with a matching die. I mean, that's just like, that does it for me. If a sentiment set's going to have a matching die and it's going to be nice and ornate like that, then I don't have to fussy cut. I have to worry about the using my e-cutter, none of that stuff. That really makes me happy. So we're going to do that. And then we've got another brand here. So A Colorful Life Designs. Their stencils are amazing. I love that small business. They are, I think they're based out of, I want to say they're based out of Texas. She does all of her cutting in-house. At least she was for a long time. And I just love this stencil. This came out a couple years ago. She still has it. It's called Big Swirl. I always use it for making like big pepperminty swirl kind of looks. And what I love about her stencils is that she has the name of it etched on the bottom here along with her company name, but she's got the name of it etched down here. So you don't ever have to remember what it is. It's always right there. Super nice. All right. And then some Studio Katia. And I don't know that I've ever used anything from Studio Katia before. I've always looked at them and always thought, oh, fun things, but some fun little embellishments. It comes together so easy, guys. So we got lots of brands going on today. Lots of fun stuff. Thank you, Sue, for applauding my cleverness. You know, it was funny. I was sitting there looking at this, saying, boy, I really need another ornament on here to make it balanced a little bit more. I wish I had a little circle one. And then I was like, well, duh, I have circle dies. I have this little top die. Of course I can make an ornament, and drop stuff on the floor. So yeah, it came together super fun. Let's talk about the stenciling. So yes. And Anne is noting, as well as Paula. So Paula said she's sorry for joining late, and never apologize. Just get here when you can. Watch the replay if you have to. She said that their clocks changed over the weekend, and ours will be changing here in the United States. So we're just like a week off now. It's really weird how we decided to do that. Anyway, here it is. Okay, so glitter paper. This is Kaiser Craft glitter paper, and I really like their glitter paper because it is shed-free. I don't get any glitter off of this. It's a really great paper. It's got a nice thickness to it as well. And I'm going to use a one of these sticky sheets from Sizzix. I cut them down. These are the ones for the for like your big shot plate or whatever. And I always cut them down into smaller pieces because I don't use them for my big shot. They make them in smaller versions. But I like having the bigger size so I can be a little bit flexible with how I'm using them. And usually they come apart more easily than this. On one end, there is a little tab that you can pull that makes it easier, but this happens to be the side that doesn't have the tab on it. And I should have done that ahead of time, but I didn't. All right, so of course, I'm saving the backing. I keep it kind of stuck to my table over on the side, and then I put the backing over it, and then I can use it over and over and over and over again. All right, so I'm just going to put that down so I can stick down my paper. This is kind of important because I don't want it to move, right? So that's going to go down. And I've got my stencil here. And for this, because it extends past, I can go ahead and put just some temporary tape on here. Now, here's the thing. Think about how you want your layout to look. Like, say you didn't want this to be right in the middle. You wanted it to be kind of off to the side. I would move my swirl so that my image still lands in the center. All right, so if you wanted to do something like that, you might want to die cut this first and kind of move it around and figure out where you want it to go. All right, but for me, I'm just going to pop this right in the center. And you can see I've used my red on it quite a bit. At some point, a stencil is not going to get perfectly clean anymore. You might miss something on there when you're washing it. You might, it might just stain. This is just stained. It's not going to come off really. So I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so I am using this week for this because it's got texture to it. I don't want to use a foam blender because it's just going to rip up the foam. And that's going to be very frustrating, right? So I'm going to use a brush blender. And these are the ones from iCrafter. And they're just like the little finger daubers, except they're actual bristles. See that? Focus for me. There we go. See? Just little bristles. And it's just like the right size for me to have some really good control while I'm putting my color on here. And as you can see, there's still some red on this one. All right. So here's the thing. When you're going on like silver glitter paper, you can do this on gold. You can do like black on gold. You can do all sorts of really cool looks. Go with a darker color than you think you might need. So Candied Apple is a pretty dark red. Let me just show you here. Right, it can get pretty intense. All right, I should have pulled out my swatch and then you really would have seen. All right, but I'm going to really ink these up. And seriously, it's just stenciling. You could use a bigger brush. If you wanted to use a larger brush and go around the whole thing, you can go for it. All right. Yes. So this is a distress ink. Of course, if you did a distress oxide, I don't know how that would work out. So here's the difference, right? An ink, the distress inks are dye inks, and it's going to dry. It's going to saturate into the paper underneath this, the glitter. And it's going to color the glitter and it's going to dry on the glitter. And it's going to get you a color. a colored look. If you use a pigment ink, it's not going to seep down into the paper. It's just going to sit on the glitter. And it's going to take a little longer to dry. You might need to use a heat tool to dry it. But it will work. All right, so see, this is just going along. I feel like it took me less time to do it when I was working on the sample, but I don't remember now. Yeah, Susan, tons of ideas with this one, right? I remember initially doing this with a project with Altenew when I was working on my AECP program. And I used the Deco Diamond pattern. I can't remember what that one is called. And I was black on gold. It looks gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, so this seems to be like taking forever today. I don't know why. So I'm going to switch to a larger brush. Ooh, let's just use this one. I mean, I've got plenty of ink here. It seems like it's just not really taking like I want it to. There we go. Plus I can get all that extra off of the stencil. These are the Rabbit Hole Designs ones. I like them. They're all the same size and they're a very reasonable rate for these. Super good price on their blending brushes. Is it better to use encapsulated glitter card? So I don't know necessarily what you mean by encapsulated. If you mean like the shed-free glitter paper, probably, because otherwise I'd be getting like glitter all over my my brush here. But you can actually do this on any glitter paper. All right, so again, you're going to want to be careful about what inks you're using, preferably using a dye ink because it's going to dye on there really nice. Yeah, so a brush itself, the glitter paper is not going to ruin. If I used a sponge, it's going to ruin your little sponge blender, right? So always use a brush style blender for this technique because otherwise you're going to run into problems with that. All right, so you guys are ready for this? Are you ready for it? Ta-da! All right, so you can go for as much or as little as you want. This one's a little bit more pink than red. If you want to come back to it, you can dry it a little bit. All right, so dry it a little bit, and then this one is easy enough to place back on. So I could come back in and do another layer, which I am going to do as soon as I get this lined up. There we go. All right, so let's put another layer on there. Yeah, the stipple brushes might work well for this. I would definitely, you know, just give it a try. See what you have in your stash that will work well for this kind of blending. There we go. So watch, you see, look, I dried that just a little bit and it was enough for me to now be able to come over and get another layer of color on top of it. Susan, I'm glad that I'm providing you with an awesome new technique. This is one that will get filmed and get put into the technique library soon. So you will have that to remember. Here's another thing to think about though. You can just ink blend on your glitter paper. If you wanted to just do like a gradient blend on it, go for it. You don't even need to use the stencil, right? Mind blown. All right, so done with the stencil. This could be a little darker if I wanted to do another layer on it, but I'm pretty happy with that. So just remember, a darker color is always going to work better. You might get a little frustrated if you start with a lighter color and you're just not seeing the difference in the color showing up. You probably want to start with a darker color. Oops. Oh yeah, markers. Absolutely. So Sue is talking about using her water-based markers for coloring on glitter paper. That was a really popular technique back in the day as well. So there we go. And I got to remember, oh, I did take that off. So like I said, I just take this and I put the protective backing on the one side. And then I stick the other side down on my countertop, kind of out of reach, so that way it doesn't get all gunky. And then I can just grab it whenever I need it. All right, so there we go. And we're going to let this sit for a little bit and finish drying while we do all of our other cut-ups and stamping. So the rest of this is like super easy. And there's a reason for that, right? We don't want to take away from the really cool background. So if you start going kind of crazy overboard with stuff, then all of a sudden you're not really appreciating the background and how cool it is. And then it's like, why did I even do that to begin with? And it can just be like too much, right? So that's why we're going to keep the rest of this super, super simple. All right. So there we go. We've got, again, this die set is really great because you can get a background real quick, a backer. So if you were going to do, if you wanted to do it in white or something like that, you certainly could. And I think this should, through my, the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm kind of realizing I don't think this is going to fit through my mini blossom. This one will fit. This one, well, it will fit if I cut off the corners. I'll just run it through my big machine and we don't have to worry about it. All right, and then I just had a little spare piece of foil. Okay. And then what else do I need? I need an infinity circle. So if you didn't have a decorative ornament like this, there's lots of things you could use. You could use a, maybe you have a stocking or even a Christmas tree. You could do a series of circles. So this one, as you can see, it's this circle here. It's one of the, on the smaller side. Just something that looks to fit the space and it fits the season's greetings behind it without it being completely covered up. That works out. All right, and then we need to do some stamping. All right, yeah, Gina, this technique is just, it's a ton of fun. So many cool things that you can do. I mean, beyond the holidays, think about, let's see, who was saying that? Susan was saying something about using the, oh yeah, the two-piece pine cone stencil. That would look amazing. Oh yeah, you could do a snowflake in the middle of here. That would be really great. But yeah, tons of different stencils to choose from. I mean, oh my gosh, anything will work. Anything will work. All right, so this is a great set. It's got Feliz Navidad in here. Season's greetings, peace on earth. So a little bit for everybody. It doesn't say, there's no happy Hanukkah on here because it's fancy Christmas sentiment. Sorry, Nancy. I thought of you the other day, Nancy. I saw a stamp set that was Hanukkah and I should have sent it to you. If I find it again, I will. I know this can be kind of few and far between, which I find disappointing. Okay, so I'm just using my VersaFine Clair in Nocturne. VersaFine Clair is another great ink to do this technique with. Even though it's a pigment ink, it works pretty well. And it'll get you some really nice colors. So if you're going to try this technique, I'm fingers crossed at the moment that I'm not going to get a shadow on this. Ugh. All right, so it moved a little bit when I put this in place. So hey, two sides to every paper, right? So when you're thinking about doing this technique, think about the color of glitter paper you're going to start with. Silver works great, obviously. You can use a white glitter paper, an iridescent glitter paper. You can use golds. If you're going to use golds, definitely have to start considering what color you're going to put over it. So black, dark colors. You just have to remember that the color might shift a little bit if you start working over colored glitter paper. Hey, there we go. That's much better. So just keep that in mind. Maybe do a little test, cut a little square, test it out a little bit to see how it's going to look. And if your vision is going to come to life or not. All right, so these are always fun to try and figure out. It's always easier to kind of turn them over a little bit and figure out what it might be. If anyone has any good suggestions for how you keep better track of those, let me know. I've been kind of trying to think of ways to do that. I just try to keep them in order with the stamp set. That doesn't always work though. All right, lots of things to die cut. So let's do that. All right, so we've got our sentiment, this guy. So run those through. So I would say this is a card that you could do multiples of without a lot of effort, because as you're going to see here, we're not going to take long before we're finished with this. Go. So if you wanted to batch it up, the longest thing it would take is all this die cutting. So that's always the most difficult part about doing a little bit more involved card, is that you want to do die cutting, but die cutting can take time. All right, so Anne's suggestion is to just label your magnet sheet. Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been thinking of. So you just label it with the actual sentiment, so that way you know where they, how many you should have and what they say. Yeah, that's true. It's a good idea. I'm just kind of dropsy today. I just dropped something. And I'm going to pop this guy. So, and the more I'm thinking about it, like labeling your magnet sheet, though that's a good idea, what I'm really trying to get at is like being able to identify the die quickly. So what I'm thinking is something very similar, and going to explore that because we're going to have a minute here afterwards to talk about that. Okay, so look at all these little pieces here. If I wanted to do a paper piecing, I would save all these little guys. I'm not going to though. Paper piecing is one of those things that I really have to be in the mood for, and I have not been in the mood for it lately. It takes a lot of time to do it. All right. So there we go. There's all of our pieces. And this guy is ready to go. And we've got a card base around here somewhere right now. Okay. So the rest of this is, I mean, very self-explanatory and actually quite basic, right? So we're just gonna pop all the layers on together and poof, we're gonna have a card. So my piece here, I cut down, this is 3 3/4 by 5. All right. And look, I've got ink on my hands, which I have now successfully gotten onto my card base. Don't know how that happened. All right. While I still can, I'm going to take this off and we'll try again. Hey, look, I've got another card base right here. I wonder if there wasn't some still wet on here. All right, so the lesson there is do a little bit of heat setting just to be sure. I'm not sure where all of that stray ink came from. I'm guessing it came from my glitter sheet here, but now it should be dry. And if you make a mistake like that and you notice it, pull up your piece right away, right? So that way you can move on from the mistake, right? It's better to waste a base card than it is to end up wasting everything else that you've just created, right? Okay. So there we go. All right, so these pieces here, when you're gluing on vellum, well, of course, on this piece here, you're just going to be gluing around the edges. You don't need to glue everywhere, so don't think you need to get in all of these little nooks and crannies. I just go a little bit around the edge, pretty sparingly, and just up the center. That's all this needs. And now I'm using just the tip. I'm not even pressing. I'm just wanting to get the glue spread across here so it doesn't squish out. Right, so it's pretty easy. So it's nice to have the vellum behind because it's going to help break up the pattern a little bit. It'll help the ornament to pop a little bit, right? So you can still see the pattern behind it, but it helps the ornament to pop. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so on this one, when I want to glue it down, again, I just want to go around the edges where the red is on the vellum. All right, and I find that liquid glue is really the best thing on glitter paper, but it doesn't dry very quickly. All right, so if you're concerned about it not drying fast enough, you can take a glue dot and put one or two in some strategic places. So I'll take a glue dot and pop one in the center here. Normally I would have done this before I had put the glue down. That's okay, it'll stick. All right, and then I'll put one up here. So that's going to help keep it in place in the short term, but then in the long term, it's going to, the glue is what's really going to keep that stuck down. All right. So I thought we'll go a little jaunty angle with this. I did the other one in the other direction, but that's okay. So I'm going to press down in those two places where I had the glue dot, and that's going to help keep it secure in the short term. And then the glue elsewhere will dry in the long term, and then you'll be perfectly good to go. All right, so a little two ways to get that stuck down. All right. So this blue paper, I've had this for a while, and I was really surprised to see that it was still available. It's by Basil, and it's called, I think it's called Baby Blue. It's got a little bit of texture to it. You see it's got like a, can you see that in there? It's not really a, I guess it's a texture. Kind of like a crackled glass, very, very minutely crackled. It's really cool. So it's not just flat. All right, so just a little bit of glue on the top of this guy here. All right, and boy, I'm doing all sorts of bad things today. This is a cardinal sin, right? You should never really use glue on foil paper, because this is what's going to happen. All right, but we're going to fix it. All sorts of things that I get to teach you when I do them wrong. I should have used a glue dot or some double-sided tape. Double-sided tape works really great. So let's look at this yucky mess that we've got here. Okay, so look at that. So gross. Take some hand sanitizer. We all have hand sanitizer now, right? And just a little bit of paper towel. Right, and gently clean it up. You don't want to rub too hard because you don't want to pull up any of the color. Different foil papers are attached or created differently, so really we're just trying to get the glue off of there. And we don't want to take any of the foil or the color off. So now this is a dry side of it, and I can just go around a little bit and see where I'm at with that. So listen, if you've got the time and you don't want to futz with this, you can just cut yourself a new piece, right? If this is your last piece of blue and you're like your last project or the only project you're going to do and you really want to clean this up, this is how you do it. And then if you're still not happy with it, hopefully you've got some more blue that you can fix it with. All right, but that is, so when you're using the Tombow, it always leaves like a little bit of residue on there, which is why I like to then take just a clean piece, kind of buff it out a little bit. Again, like I said, if you have more cardstock, listen, by now we could have had a new cardstock piece cut. and we could have it on there. So, but if you just have a little bit of this and you got a second to give it a try, sometimes it's worth giving that a try, right? If I pop this guy off, I can still use him. And I might be able to clean this up. You never know. But really, like I said, do what you have time for and what you've got supplies for. But see, look, I got that clean. Ta-da! Yeah, so, and sometimes it depends on the, paper. Sometimes more elbow grease like that will wear it off, right? We don't want that to happen, obviously, because you'll just be cutting another piece and moving on. If this is your last piece of blue and whatever, you want to give it the good college try, because you don't want to have to go out and buy a whole other piece of 12 by 12 paper just because you messed up on your last little 2 by 2 square. But as you can see, look, there's some blue on here. That's from the paper. So this one, I lucked out that it was a little bit more resilient and I could do that to clean it. Sometimes it just doesn't work and you'd end up with a white splotch there and then it's really done. All right, so, but the hand sanitizer is the trick on that to clean that up. All right, so we're gonna pop these guys opposite. So get like a little V going on here. Hey, look at what that is. That's really a triangle, right? So you've got 1, 2, and then the kind of where they meet. So triangle, we're always talking about triangles in design, right? So we can pop this guy down. Now for this, I don't mind putting the glue on because I know this is just going to go down here. Right. And then this is going to go right across. If you are concerned about it slipping and sliding, use some double-sided adhesive or something other than a liquid glue. I'm sure it'll be just fine. Yeah, sometimes it just, you know, when you can't recover from the glue on there, you pop it in the circular bin and you do a new one. You know. Oh, Becca, your daughter just outed you. Happy birthday! Hello, Elsa. That's awesome. Elsa, did you make a card for your mom? Or is that just her thing? All right. So you see how this is popping up here? That's why it's sometimes a good thing to put a your glue dots behind, because it'll keep that from popping up, and then it'll help the rest of the glue stick down and give it an opportunity to dry. So that's always a fun feature of working with glitter paper. There we go. So again, I just put a little glue dot on the back side there, and that will help keep that all nice and tidy. All right, so we need some bling, and these are Studio Katia Silver Sparkle Crystals. And in this little center spot here, there's so many different cool things that you could put in there, right? You could put in a gem like we're gonna do. So a little gem right there. And this happens to have 3 different sizes. So of course I'm gonna do my small, medium, large deal. I'm gonna put like a small one over here. And then there's lots of glitter going on, so it's a really good question about like where you want to put your third one. You can put it in some place that's not really going to be seen. I'm going to put it all the way over here, and that's going to be just fine. right. I'm feeling a little spazzy today, apparently. Normally I would put this in a little thing and then just be able to pour them right back in. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to be kind of a crazy crafter. It's going to be kind of like, that's all right. Okay, so this definitely needs a little jewel picker. And I am going to use my On Point glue because it dries clear and hard. Come on. And apparently it dries clear and hard and in the container. This one's been giving me a little bit of a problem lately. Might be time to get a new lid on it. Oh, there we go. This doesn't require a lot. It smushes quite a bit. So for this little guy right here, it needs just like the littlest teeny. You see how little that drop is? Come on. It's like surgery sometimes. All right. And then this one, like I said, I'm going to put over here. And the cool thing about it is that it's not going to be like obvious. But when somebody gets it, they're going to run their hand over it and they're going to be like, oh, there's a little gem there. That's so cool. All right. And there you go. Our rescued ornament. Our beautiful stenciled background. So awesome. I need my lid. And that's how it goes. Some birthday wishes for Becca. Excellent. Very good. And here's the original, the one that I did with a little bit of a darker. So you can be kind of subtle with it. You can be a little bit more bold with it. Get a really great result. So there you go. Okay, so we've got a few minutes left, and here's the idea that I was having. So we were talking about what to do with this whole situation. And I actually, like, on the fly, you guys are throwing out your ideas. And here's my thought. Okay. So, pop this guy. So this doesn't require the stamp set. It's just going to require a marker. I don't know where my, well, do that. And my dies, all my dies. Okay. So I don't even really have to put these in order. What I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut out all of these. Okay. Awesome. I'm so glad you guys like the project. Right, it'll be helpful if I flip them over when I type. So yes, the rest of this month we're going to do more sparkle and shine. All sorts of different things. I haven't worked on the ones for December yet because I want to use, I'm hoping to get my hands on a hot foil plate so I can do some hot foil. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut out all the sentiments. Look. Maybe you might want to use this side of it, but I'm going to use this side of it because then I can write on them. And it'll all come clear and make sense. Okay. Right, so here is, I just want to get something white behind this so you can see it. Here's our stamp set. All right, just don't forget. All right, I'm going to go ahead and match all of these up. See how, I mean, like, this can get a little annoying. There you go. No, this is Feliz Navidad. Yes, no, no. Yeah. This is Feliz Navidad. You guys having fun watching me do this? And then, okay. So now I'm going to match these up to these. This is a lot easier because you're just looking at the thing that matches exactly the same. Okay, so here we go. Here's my magnet sheet. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to write on here, Merry Christmas. And then I'm gonna, I don't know, I guess this will stick. See where that's going? So that way you know what it says, but you also know what it looks like. I do puzzles? Nancy, when I was in college, my roommate and I, my best friend to this day, she and I used to do puzzles all the time. And then we would like glue them together and put them up on the wall as art. You don't even have to put the whole thing in there. Like, this is just Feliz Navidad. I don't have to write the whole thing. I can just put the Feliz. This could be just reason. So if I were to do this again, I think I would die cut these in with typing paper so that the typing paper is thinner on here. And and then I could, you know, be sure that my pieces are going to stick on the magnet. You know what I mean? Because that's always the worst. Like, you pick this up and they all come falling off, although they're sticking, so that's good. So there you go. Here's a great way to there. So now when I stamp something out, I don't have to sit here and figure out which die is which. I'm going to say, oh, I just stamped out Reason for the Season. Here it is. Very easy. Do your die cutting. Even if I like didn't even have them all on here, you know, I was using a couple of them. It'd be very easy to just come back and match them up because you have them going the same direction. Yeah, and I'll totally redo this after the show because I'll definitely be making a standalone video on this that will go probably into the technique library. So thanks for the idea, guys. Anyway, hey, that's our time together today. Can you believe it? An hour goes by really, really quick when we're having fun with paper and ink. I'm so glad to have all sorts of folks join today. I saw a couple of new names here. I saw Gina, and of course, we're really happy to have Becca's daughter here with us today. So very cool. Thanks for joining us. Hey guys, I will be back next week with another great project. We'll be doing more glitter and sparkle and shine. Next week will be another holiday project, but then after that, we'll cycle into just some regular glitter and shine products. I don't like to go too overboard with the holidays, especially because we're already in November and you should be getting those holiday cards done. Anyway, if you love today's project, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on your way out. And if you need to do any shopping this weekend, grab an affiliate link below and do some shopping at no additional cost to you. So thank you so much, guys. I will be back next week with some more sparkle and glitter and shine, and I will see you then. So until next time, happy crafting. Happy birthday, Becca. Go have a piece of cake for me. Thanks, guys. Bye.